Go on, girl. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to get a block and I want you to put it on its lowest setting on your mat like that, right? And so this is going to go right above your heart. And then I want you to put your second block on its tallest setting. And it can be that way. It can be, perpendicular to the top of your mat or parallel to the top of your mat. And that's where you're going to put your head. If you don't have a block or a pillow, just go into Supta Baddha Konasana on your back. So instead of starting in child's pose, this position is called heart bench. And you're going to fiddle around with the position of your block. So the edge of your block is where your bra strap will go or where your heart is. And then you're going to lean your head back. Your feet can be in a Supta Baddha Konasana position, your arms out gently on either side, or your knees can be together with your edges of your feet at the side of the mat, or your legs can be long. You can try all of those positions, but this is a chest opener and your palms are facing up. And if it's comfortable for you, you can fiddle around with the block that's under your head and put it at the second highest setting. And just make sure that we're trying to get our heart open to the ceiling. You can close your eyes and just breathe normally. And allow your shoulders to start to wrap around that block that's underneath your heart. And you can fiddle around with this so that you're comfortable. This should not be uncomfortable. And breathe your normal breath. Wrapping your shoulder blades around that block as you breathe in and out. Try to relax your whole back. If you're holding tension in your hips, try to relax your hips so that they fall a little bit closer to the mat. Breathe in and out. Next time, breathe in deeply and open your mouth and stick your tongue out. Do that again. That's called lion's breath. And now start your Ujjayi breathing. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose, making the sound of the ocean by constricting your throat. Five more breaths here. Really deep Ujjayi breathing. And slowly roll onto your side, maybe your right side or left side, using that arm, and remove your blocks, push them to the side, but we're going to stay on our backs for another minute or two. So come back onto your back grab your knees, wrap your arms around your knees, and gently rock from side to side, giving your back a little massage. Rock as far as you can without flopping over to one side or the other. And that, it helps by keeping your full back on the mat. Maybe you rest your head back, just give your back a little massage here. Now come to the inside, place your arms on the inside of your legs and grab your feet. So my right hand is grabbing my right foot, my left hand is grabbing my left foot, and come up into what's called happy baby. So your knees are bent, they're, trying to get to your armpits, they're not getting there, but you're holding the soles of your feet with the palms of your hand. You really can be, your hands can be on the outside of your legs too, but this, I think, helps if you're on the inside, it helps you get a little further extension. Try to really flatten your back on the mat. So your lower spine, your thoracic spine. I can't get my shoulders on the mat, but maybe you've got the flexibility that you can, but you're really trying to get a flat back on the mat. Your head is back on your mat. And here, rock a little bit side to side, just like a baby would. Of course, they have tremendous flexibility. Now grab your right toe with your thumb and your pointer finger. This is called your peace fingers. I don't know why, because they're not exactly your peace fingers, but grab that toe and try to straighten your right leg. You're still got your palm around your left foot and you're drawing your left knee into your armpit, but you're trying to straighten your right leg with your toe, your fingers around that toe. Now try to open that foot closer to the right wall. It's a big internal stretch on the inside of your thigh, and maybe you don't go very far. I'm only going about 3 inches, but just try that. Now, Tony, here's where having a strap could help. You could wrap a strap around your foot, and that would give you further extension, allowing that foot to open up more. So if you got a strap and you want to try that, go for it. I'm just using my hand. And come back to center, grab the sole of your right foot, re-grab it, draw your knees down to your armpits in happy baby. Now grab your left toe with your thumb and pointer finger of your left hand and try to straighten that leg, keeping your right leg bent. Here we are, straightening it, and then try to open it towards the left. And again, I'm not going very far. It may be part and parcel because my arm can't go very far, can't go over there, but it is an opening in the inside of your thigh. Breathe in and out, in and out. Now bring it back to center. Grab that sole of foot with your left hand. Now you're back into that happy baby. Massage your back a little bit more. And bring your knees back into your chest, wrapping your arms around your knee. Bring your forehead to your knees. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And rock your full back up to a seated position and run your feet back behind you. Come into a tabletop position. So this is where we're really stacked. All our joints are stacked on top of one another, and our hands have a little bit of a, I'm going to call it an external rotation. So this helps protect your shoulders when you're in a tabletop position or down dog. Your pointer finger, your first finger, is at true north. Not your forefinger, but your pointer finger. And you'll notice that L shape between your pointer finger and your thumb. That is where you want to have a lot of, that's where a lot of power comes from. You want to kind of notice that and and respect the power that comes from that L shape there. Your hands are there, your shoulders are on top of your elbows, and your elbows on top of your wrists. Likewise, your knees are right below your hips, and your shins are directly out behind you. Your toes are flat on the mat. This is kind of true north in a tabletop position. We're going to thread the needle. So I want you to bring your right arm up to the ceiling, look up at your thumb, and now bring that arm right through your left arm and try to get your right ear on the mat. Your left arm stays bent, and you're also trying to get your right shoulder on the mat. Now, for me, this is super challenging. I can't quite get my shoulder on the mat, but this, again, is a big shoulder opening. Breathe in and out. Now, if this is easy for you, you can extend your left hand out in front of you. So it's now straight, it's not bent, and your palm is still on the floor. And this might give you an additional stretch. If it feels good, do it. If not, bring that hand back so it's right underneath your elbow. And now slowly make your way up and out of this and back into tabletop position. Breathe here. Maybe do a cat-cow, that always feels good. Swivel your hips. Inhale when you look up and drop your belly. Hips are pointed up. Now go into cat, arch your back a lot, draw your chin in. And back to a neutral spine, noticing your alignment. Now, left arm goes up to the ceiling. Turn around and look up at that left thumb, and now draw that hand through your right arm and try to get your left ear on the ground and your left shoulder on the ground. And again, you can put that right hand out in front of you so that right arm is straight, or leave it bent, whatever seems to give you the best extension. I'm very aware that my hips, I'm trying to keep my hips from popping out from one side to the other. So put your hand on your sacrum and see, is your hip like, I don't know, going out to the right? Try to draw it back so that your hips remain in that neutral alignment. Breathe here, try to, just like with all folds, on the inhale, you're extending. On the exhale, you're trying to go deeper. So practice that. Inhale, extend. Exhale, try to go deeper. And slowly make your way back up to that tabletop, and a couple more rounds of cat-cow. Look in and look down. Exhale into cat and look up into cow. And exhale into cat. Bring your hands a little further up on your mat and tuck your toes. Bring your knees up off the mat just 2 inches. So this is just a kind of a, I don't know, it's a different way of, it's kind of a plank. It's half plank, half downward facing dog. Breathe here. Breathe in and out. Engage your abdominals as you draw up into downward facing dog. Perhaps your first of the day. Pedal out your feet. See if you can get your heels onto your mat. Maybe you can't quite yet today, but as we go through the practice, this wonderful practice, I bet you'll see that the next time, or maybe the third time you do a down dog, it feels a little bit better. Again, if you're feeling a lot of pressure in your wrists in a down dog, really engage the tips of your fingers of your pointer finger and your thumb, and try to bring some of that weight into your fingertips and out of that kind of crushing feeling in your wrists. Pedal, pedal, pedal. Come high on your toes, super high. Sink your heels down. Come high on your toes again. Point your toes to the left side of your mat and bend your knees a lot. Huge side body stretch, breathe into this. Come back high on your toes, point your toes to the right and bend. Big side body stretch. Again, come high on your toes. And now tiptoe to the top of your mat. Lots of little tiptoes. Come up onto your fingertips as you approach them. Stay here. Breathe. Come high on your toes. Now my fingertips are on the mat and I'm up on my tippy toes as far as I can get. Lower your heels to the mat. Come to a halfway lift. Straight back. Crown of your head drawing really strongly towards the front of the room. Breathe in. Exhale into forward fold. And up to mountain pose. Look up, spark your hands up. Bring your hands to prayer. Close your eyes. We'll begin practice with the sound of one Om. Breathe in and out. Breathe in. Look in, mountain pose, dive down, forward fold, halfway lift, dive down, come to a standing position. So we're just going to review True North because I think that this will help you throughout the practice. I'm going to try to get my mat, get this position a little bit better. So in True North, look down at your toes. Toes are pointing straight ahead. Your big toe is at 12 o'clock. Bring all your toes up off the mat, flex them, try to open them up. Now lower them down one at a time. There we go. Draw your arches up. So the inside of your shins engage. Draw your knees up. Everything stacked. Hips, knees, ankles, all stacked on one another. Your shoulders are stacked on top of your hips. There they are. Draw your shoulders up to your ears. Roll them down. Draw them up to your ears. Roll them down. Now go in the opposite direction. Up and down. Up and down. When your shoulders are in that down position, in fact, clasp your hands behind your back and draw your hands down towards your knees. That position of your shoulders is pretty close to the position you want. You want to have your shoulders down. I think in our 21st century stance, we're kind of walking around like this. We want our shoulders down. We want our chin back. We're not jutting it forward like we're looking at a screen. We want it back. Our ears are over our shoulders. This is True North. This is the beginning of all Tadasana. This is the beginning of all standing yoga positions. So this is where we find strength. Our abdominal muscles are engaged, like we're tucking in our favorite, zipping up our favorite pants. So that little bit of engagement where your belly is drawing up and in, that engagement will bring us tremendous strength. So this is the stance. We're going to come right into a warrior one. So step your left foot back, your right foot is forward, your right toes are pointing forward. Spine is neutral, pelvis is neutral. Sink into this. So you really want this back leg stretched out behind you, and that left foot is the blade edge of that foot is digging into the mat behind you. Here it is. That back leg is driving your front leg forward. Look down, but you want that bent knee right over the ankle. You don't want it back here and you don't want it overextended. It's really important that it stays right over the ankle. You can feel the difference. If you bend it forward, that you might feel some additional pressure on that knee, or if you draw it back, often it's this is the position that you see a lot, but you want it right over. And if you can get a further extension, just scooch your front toes forward a little bit. See how deep you can go, even before you add arms. See how deep you can go in this with your legs. Your hips are pointing forward to the front of the room. Your shoulders are over your hips. Here we are. Our pelvis is neutral. Our pelvis floor is facing the mat. Bring your arms up to cactus. Breathe here and out. In and out. And now bring your arms up overhead. Your triceps are around your ears, and your pinkies you're rolling your hands so that they're coming in. That will give you additional ability to get those triceps around your ears. This is a super challenging pose, and we're holding it for a while, like we're in a yin class. But here we are, we're not in a yin class, we're just in this class, but we're breathing into this and out. One more breath in and out. Pinwheel your hands to the mat around either side of that right leg and step your right leg back. Come into high plank. Again, look at your hands. The pointer fingers are straight ahead. Your body is straight. You're not sinking your hips and you're not popping your butt. Your butt is straight. And you're looking down at your mat. You lower halfway, tuck those elbows so that they're scraping the sides of your body. You're only halfway down. You come up into an upward facing dog. Your knees can be on the mat or raised, but you're bringing your chest through and you roll back to downward facing dog. And take some breaths here. If you need to capture your breath again, if you find it's getting ragged, breathe in and open your mouth. Do that again. Breathe in. Do that whenever you find that your breath is getting ragged. And if you're really ragged, take child's pose for a few breaths. Pedal your feet. See if there's any difference. Step your left foot forward. I'm going to reverse myself. Step your left foot forward for warrior one. So come up slowly. Get all positioned. Get all sorted. Same cues. Now your right leg is driving. That edge is driving firmly into the mat. Your foot can be at 45 degrees or it can be at 90 degrees. See the difference. See what makes, what works better for you. Or it can be at 60%. That's small, but our alignment is big. So can we get our hips facing the wall in front of us? We can sort of help by drawing now your left hip back and your right hip forward. Sink into this. See if your knee's right over your ankle. Breathe. You're not popping anything out. Your booty, your pelvis is neutral. Slowly bring your arms up to cactus. So your arms are opening, your shoulders are wrapping around the spine, and then bring your arms up into warrior one. Breathe here. If you're feeling this in your lower back, make some adjustments because this is not supposed to be dumping into your lower back at all. Breathe. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. Sink. I can even look at my little cube on my screen and see, am I bent my knee enough? I don't know if that works for you. Look at your little cube on the screen and see if you're in good position. Breathe. And pinwheel your hands down to either side of your left leg. Scoot your left leg back. Come into that high plank position. Super strong. Stay here. Engage your abdominal muscles. Breathe. Plug your shoulders into the shoulder sockets. Breathe. Come down halfway. Now, a lot of yogis would say roll forward a little bit so you're on the tippy tops of your toes and then lower down halfway. Your elbows are in. Come up to upward facing dogs, knees on the mat or not, and roll back to downward facing dog. Breathe. So now let's do a warrior two. So however you need to get there, come back on your mat, step your right foot forward. So it's the same legs. It's exactly the same legs as warrior 1 and warrior 2. Except some people say in warrior 2, your back foot is more at a 90-degree angle. So it's more parallel with the back of your mat. Whereas in warrior 1, sometimes people bring that foot so it's more at a 45-degree angle. Play with it. I've never read where it makes really that big a difference, but see how it feels in your body. So again, get your legs set up, you're sinking. And with warrior 2, your arms are stretched out. So you're stretching your arms out, you're trying to reach either side of the room, and you're sinking into this. Look down, is your knee bent right over your ankle? Is it collapsing in? If it is, draw it out. So this is, look over your front fingers, breathe here, engage your abdominal muscles, breathe and sink. Breathe and sink. Reverse your warrior. Left hand goes down your left leg, bring your right arm up. Fingers are sparking up to the ceiling. You're looking at your hand that's raised. Breathe here. Now bring that right forearm onto your right thigh for side angle. So now we're gently resting that forearm on that bent leg. Our left arm is now straight up. Breathe here. Now look up at that thumb if you can. Breathing and sinking. And now extend that. So bring the left tricep so it's resting on top of your left ear. This is extended side angle. Breathe and sink. Extend that arm back up, come back up to warrior 2. Straighten your front leg, hinge at your waist, and come into triangle. Place your right hand on your shin or on a block. We're making our body so that it's like between 2 panes of glass. So we're making our body thin. We're stacking our shoulders. We're drawing that arm right up, and the crown of our head is drawing towards the front of the room. Breathe. Now come up out of this, come back into that warrior 2, and however you can, step your left leg halfway up your mat. So now both toes are facing the front of your mat. Leg is halfway up, hip width distance apart. Grab a block if you have one, place it on the parallel to your right foot. We're coming into a pyramid pose. So here we are, bring our arms up overhead, breathe. And on an exhale, fold over your right foot and breathe. You're gonna feel this profoundly in your hamstring. I find kind of grabbing a block to be handy, but you can do it without a block very easily, just by maybe touching your toes. And like all folds, breathe in, extend, exhale, fold deeper. Unlock your knees if they're locked. Make sure that you're not locked out. Draw your right hip back. Try to draw your left hip forward. Now place your left hand on that block, or if you don't have a block, on the floor, maybe on your fingertips. Draw your right arm up overhead for twisting triangle. The tops of your thighs are drawing together, and we want to look up at that raised thumb. Again, we're stacking our shoulders like we were doing in triangle, only this is twisting triangle. Breathe, 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 and slowly come out of this. Good. Let's do that same little sequence on the other side. So we're gonna come into warrior two on the left. Your left foot is coming forward. Your toes are at 12 o'clock, have a block handy so that you can grab it when you need it. All those cues that we were talking about. So my hands just naturally go to my hips because that seems to be where, for me, that's the biggest challenge for me to get my hips facing the front of the room. So those hip bones, right, on either side, you kind of want them coming around. And you do that by drawing your left hip back and your right hip forward. I'm digging now that right foot is really digging into it's my driver. It's really motivating my left leg forward. I'm bending that left knee, I'm sinking, and now I'm going to add arms. I start at cactus, breathe in, and then come up to full, oh, wait, we're doing warrior two, sorry. Stretch your arms out into either wall in front of you, and they should be parallel with one another. One's not sinking down. So they're parallel, your shoulders are down, you're breathing in, you're going deeper. Breathe in. And go deeper. Reverse your warrior. Your right hand goes down your right leg, your left hand raises up, sparking up to the ceiling. Look at your thumb, sink. Now place your left forearm lightly on your left thigh and draw your right arm up overhead for for side angle. This is side angle. Breathe. Make any adjustments in your legs. Make sure your legs are still bent. Breathe, look up. One more inhale. And draw that arm up overhead so that tricep is touching your right ear for extended side angle. I feel this profoundly in my psoas muscle. That's the muscle that wraps around from your back, wraps around your hip, and connects to the top of your, I think it's your femur. And I can really feel that stretch in this position. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Come back to warrior two. Again, really stretching your arms to either wall. Straighten your front leg. Hinge your body forward to come into triangle pose on this side. So again, we're between two panes of glass. We're breathing here. We're going to look up at our right arm, our right thumb. Look up. Breathe, extend. Breathe, extend. And come back up to warrior two. Come up out of this. Now step your right foot halfway up your mat, hip width distance. Do it in however you can. Breathe here. Place the block, if you like to grab a block in your pyramid pose, place it however it's comfortable. Breathe. Unlock your legs, Sarah. Draw your arms straight up overhead. Look up over at your hands that are up towards the ceiling, and now fold forward over your left leg. I like to grab my block as I fold here. Breathe in and exhale, fold deeper. Breathe in, exhale, and fold deeper. In, exhale, deeper. Place the block now parallel with your left foot. Right hand on that block, or maybe you're up on your fingertips as you draw your left hand up overhead, bringing the tops of your thighs together for twisting triangle. Breathe and look up at that thumb. Breathe and look. And slowly make your way out of this. Come into a chair position. So you can come to the top of your mat, wherever you are, just come into chair. So we bend our knees. We sink our hips down. We can see our toes and maybe more of our foot. So there I am. As soon as I add my arms, some of my foot disappears, but here I am in chair and I'm sinking down. Breathe in and sink. Engage your abdominal muscles. Breathe in and sink. Breathe in and sink. Draw your hands to your heart in prayer and twist right, hooking your left elbow around your right knee. Again, we are stacking our shoulders. You can open your arms if it's there for you. Sink. Come back up into chair. Fold down, yogi toe lock. Grab your toes, your big toes with your forefinger, your pointer finger and your thumb. And draw your crown of your head down towards the mat. Bend your elbows. Come up to a halfway lift. Straight back, really straight. Dive down, forward fold. Come up to mountain pose. Breathe, look up, and sink into chair. You try to get a straight back. I often lift my toes up off the mat so I can really feel all four corners of my feet as I try to sink deeper. Again, I'm drawing my pinkies towards one another, kind of rotating my wrists. Bring your hands to heart and twist left, hooking your right elbow around your left knee. So look at your knees. You don't want one popping out. If they are, try to straighten them out so they're parallel with one another. Draw the crown of your head towards the front of the room. Breathe and sink. If you opened your arms on the other side, try to do that here too. Breathe. And come up out of it, forward fold. Place the palms of your hand underneath the soles of your feet. This is called gorilla pose. See if your toes can reach the creases of your wrist and give your wrist a little massage. Maybe you can rock your feet a little bit forward and back. Bend your knees a lot. You can drape your torso on top of your thighs. Allow the crown of your head to wave, and yes, and no, and yes, and no. And come up to halfway lift, forward fold, mountain pose. Look up. Bring your hands to heart in prayer and take a few rounds of breath in and out. In and out. Let's do a little bit of balance work. So let's go into, let's see how we're going to do this. Come into crescent lunge. Sorry, I'm going to take a drink. Right foot forward, left foot back on your toes. Bend into your right foot. This is the leg work of crescent lunge. We've been here before. Bring your arms up overhead. So here we are in crescent lunge. Breathe here. And we're going to go into warrior three. So warrior three, if you don't know what it is, it's your arms are out in front of you and your leg extends behind you. Take your time getting here, okay? So that's Warrior 3. So we're in crescent lunge. Come back here. Arms up overhead. Breathe. Engage your abdominals, super important with balance. It can help to find a drishti point, something that's not moving in front of you, right? And really feel strong. And there's no necessity to rush into this. Just slowly lift off, draw your back leg up and extend your arms forward, and then bring that left leg up higher, flexing your toes. Ideally, your head is between your arms. Breathe, feel strong. Now bring those arms back like you're in airplane. If you fall out, just come back to it. Now, find a block or place your right hand down. The block should be parallel to your right foot and come into half moon. So now this is a hip opener. We stack our hips. We draw our left arm up and our shoulders are stacked. So it's double stack. Breathe here, in and out. Unlock your standing leg and slowly come back to a standing position, forward fold, half lift, forward fold, and mountain pose. Look up. Good job. Now, we're going to do that same little deal on the other side. So we are going to step our, let's see, we did left foot forward, right foot back in crescent lunge. So here we are, we're on our toes of our right foot, our left leg, our left knee is bent right over the ankle. Check yourself out, bring your arms up to cactus and up overhead into full crescent lunge. Breathe here, feel strong, feel strong. Now slowly bring your right foot up off the mat. I've got to reposition myself and come into Warrior 3. It's tricky. Just take your time, no rush. Here we are. Try to draw that raised leg, your right leg up, but parallel. Your hips are parallel and your toes are flexed. Now bring your arms behind you in airplane. Pinkies are almost touching. Breathe here. Breathe. One more inhale and exhale. And now into half moon. Get your hand down on the mat or on a block and draw your right arm up overhead. Right toes flexed to the wall on your side. And breathe. And come to a standing position. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold, mountain pose. Look up and come down to a seated position on your mat. We're going to actually, come to seated. Seated is good. Let's just come into a high boat. We're just going to do a little bit. High boat, whatever your high boat is, however you can get there, get there. You're on your sacrum, lower to low boat. Look at your toes. Come up to high boat. Exhale into low. Inhale into high. Exhale into low. Flutter kick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and lower down completely. Ha! Good job. Ha ha ha. We're just going to do a little bit of back bending. You know, there's a bazillion ways of doing bridge. So supported bridge is where you put a block underneath your sacrum. That's cool. There is bridge with one leg raised and then the other. That's cool. There's Supta Baddha Konasana, just another way of doing bridge. If you want to rest, put your soles of feet together, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Cool. So we'll do 3 of these, okay? So here we are setting up. I'm going to do just the standard bridge, and I'll give cues for that. Your arms are flat into the mat. My fingers graze the back of my heels. So that's the position that you want your feet in. Your toes are at 12 o'clock and strong. You're going to use your arms and your feet to lift your hips. You're not going to use your back muscles, okay? And that's really the point. So we're going to raise our hips. We want our hips to come as high as we can. So we're coming on the balls of our shoulder as we breathe in and out, and breathe in and come up. Unclench your butt if it's clenched. We really want to be grounding our feet in and our arms in, and that's the lift. Breathe in and out. 2 more breaths in and out. Breathe in and out and lower down. We're going to do this 2 more times. So whatever form your bridge is, if wheel is in your practice, you can take it now. But I would stick with bridge if wheel is not in your practice. We can talk about wheels another time. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and pop up. Arms and feet. Try to draw your knees together, but they're not touching. Breathe in. We'll do 2 more breaths here. And lower down. Good job. Breathe in. Cleansing breath out. And come right back up for bridge. Three more breaths. And lower down. Supta Baddha Konasana, the soles of your feet together, one hand at your heart and one hand at your belly as your breath starts to slow down. We're going to do a little bit of a hip opener. So place your left foot on the mat, your knee is bent. Place your right ankle on top of that knee. Wrap your hands around your left thigh and press your right knee away with your right elbow. So this is figure 4. If you've ever been a runner, you know this stretch very well. You should feel this in your right hip. Your lower back is on the mat. Take 3 really good breaths here. And as you exhale, draw your left thigh closer to you and push that right knee away. Another breath in. And one more. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So your right foot is on the mat, knee is bent, left ankle's on top of your right knee. Grab your right thigh with your hands, draw it towards your body, and press away your left knee with your left elbow. Your head can be raised or down, whatever's comfortable, but the point is breathe In, and on the exhale, draw that thigh closer to you. Two more breaths. And come out of this. Make your way into an inversion of your choice. So waterfall is great. That's a block right underneath your sacrum, and your feet should just pop right up to the ceiling. Shoulder stand, which is what I'm going to do, or you can shimmy up against the wall and place your legs up against the wall. We'll be in this inversion to bring rejuvenation back to our body. If you're in shoulder stand, you want to be up on your shoulders. Obviously, that's why they call it shoulder stand, but you don't want to be creaming your neck. So if this is uncomfortable for your neck, don't do it. Come, just breathe here. I try to get higher, but I'm stacking everything. My ankles are on top of my knees, and my knees are on top of my hips. And if you're in shoulder stand, you're trying to get your hips kind of on top of your shoulders. I'm not there, but I think that's the ideal. If you're in shoulder stand, see if you can move back to plow. So that's bringing your legs straight behind you. I'm now kind of looking at my knees as they're going up over my head, and see if you can get your toes on the ground behind your head. Again, if this is hurting your neck, don't do it, just come out of it. But this is plow. My arms are stretched out on the mat, kind of in the opposite direction of where my toes are. Breathe. And then you can bring your knees around your ears. It's called deaf man's pose, which I think is a very unfortunate name, but that's what it's called. Breathe. If your legs up the wall, or if you're in waterfall, remove your block, and everybody gently roll out of this, whatever inversion you were in, come down onto your back, draw your knees into your chest, and roll them over so that your knees are pointing left. Your right arm is out to the right, and you're looking over at your right thumb. Breathe here. This is supine twist. Bring your knees back to center. Do another tuck in with your forehead touching your knees, and now draw your knees over to the right, and your left hand extends out long, and look over at your left thumb. Breathe. I've got my right hand on my knees to try to draw them even more on the floor. Breathe. Come back to center. Again, draw your knees into your chest. Scrunch up into a little ball. Scrunch everything and extend out into Shavasana. Flop your feet open. Flop your hands open and up to the ceiling. Regain just your natural breath. We'll be here for just a moment. Bring some movement to your fingers and toes. And gently roll onto your side, cradling your head in your arm. And take a few breaths here. And slowly make your way with your eyes closed to a comfortable seated position on your mat. Sit up tall. Draw the crown of your head towards the ceiling. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. Breathe in and out. Another deep breath in. And cleansing out. Draw your hands together in prayer. We'll close practice with the way we began, with the sound of one Om. Breathe in and out. In. Bring your thumb knuckles to your forehead. We look up. The light in me honors the light in you. We bow together and say, Namaste. Namaste. Good practice. Good job, everyone. Please